Philly Show is brought to you by Fox One, Ruben Amaro Jr., Jim Salisbury, Todd Zolecki. The Philly Show, it's Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025. About a month ago, guys, I was talking to people about my ideal World Series matchup as the Phillies beat writer, and I said Phillies Blue Jays would be a lot of fun. Little 1993 rematch.
Got one of them right.
Quick flight.
Quick flight. I love Toronto. It's a great city. Instead, it's going to be Dodgers, Blue Jays beginning on Friday night. And here we are, the Philly Show, and we are talking about 2026. Asked you for your questions, and you have a lot of questions. Let's jump right into it. It's time for the Park's first pitch. Pitch is brought to us exclusively by our partners at Parks Casino, Pennsylvania's #1 casino, numero uno. Here we go. Let's start with a question, and I chose this one for first pitch just because I keep watching and thinking about what the Dodgers did in these first 3 rounds of the postseason with their great pitching. This is from Flips to Stock on Threads. After seeing the Dodgers starting pitching depth up close, he can't possibly expect us to be okay with letting Ranger go because they have 5 starters already. I guess he might be Dave Dombrowski. If Wheeler is healthy, Nola regains his form, and Painter is actually good. Can he? In other words, can he really just let Ranger Suárez walk? We've talked a lot about Ranger. Do you guys have any concerns? I know the price tag's going to be steep, but are you maybe a little bit worried about that rotation once Ranger goes?
Yeah, we've talked about it and time again. Depth there's great value in having depth, and we wonder if they have enough depth. But the Dodgers do have that depth, and they also have that $400 million payroll that the Phillies aren't going to have. They also have questions about Rangers' long-term durability. I'm sure they'd love to have him back on something Ruben's talked a lot about, the old pillow contract. But, just kind of checking out the lay of the land and surveying that, you believe he's going to move on, especially, they got Painter coming, and it'll open up a spot for him. But would it be great to have all that depth? Yeah. And treat it like the Dodgers treat it, like really watch their innings in the regular season. I mean, they have so many fresh arms out there because they just didn't tax them throughout the regular season, their starters, that these guys are like, workload-wise in mid-season, and they have plenty of fire left in those arms. And you can do that when you have depth. But I don't know if the Phillies can be the Dodgers in terms of what they spend. And that's a big reason that the Dodgers have assembled that depth, is because they just spend.
Yeah, I just think we have to deal with some reality here. The Phillies have been working over budget and operating over budget for several years here just to keep this group together and to continue to add on to this current group. It's been good enough to get to the World Series and to win the World Series. They just haven't been able to play the appropriate baseball at the right time to get there. It's hard to win. You can't just keep spending and spending. They just cannot do it. It's not like an open wallet. It's not how it works. The Dodgers have an open wallet. It's a totally different ownership group. It's a totally different ability to drive revenue. The Phillies don't have that big of a marketplace, but they've been operating above budget for a long time. And yeah, it'd be great to sign all of them. Sign Ranger, sign Framber Valdez, sign Cease, sign them all. That doesn't happen. You want to know why? Because there's a reality. There's a stop button. There's a faucet that turns off at some point. And a lot of it is going to be dependent on what happens with Schwarber. I think he's a priority. And what happens with Schwarber and JT, I think they're the #1 and #2 priority for them. And after that, if they have some money to work with, or if they can move some money and to figure out a way to bring other pieces onto the program, then maybe Ranger and or other pitchers will be part of this process. But otherwise, It's not just an open faucet. That's not how it works in Philadelphia. They cannot generate the kind of revenue that other teams can generate. And while they've been operating at a very high rate, they've been like second or third in payroll. Now they're getting taxed like double. Every time they spend $1, it's going to be another $1 they have to spend on the threshold. I mean, it's just, let's deal in some reality here.
Yeah.
And part of the reality is that they don't have an open checkbook.
Yeah, I would be curious to see what Ranger ultimately ends up signing for. I was looking at some numbers. The last 4 years, Rangers thrown 588 in the third innings. And the big talk with Rangers, right? There's some durability, or he hasn't, made 30 starts in a season. 12.1 WAR. But then I was looking at Blake Snell, who's had an unbelievable postseason. His 4 years before free agency with the Dodgers, he threw 540 in 2/3 innings. So he actually threw less than Ranger by 48 innings in his 4 years leading up to free agency. And his WAR was 12.2. So he got 5 years, $136.5 million. I'm not saying he's going to get that or beat that, but
But Snell was a Cy Young Award winner, and he's got swing and miss stuff that Ranger Suárez doesn't have. And the health issues, and I think they held him back as far as his innings are concerned, because that's what the Tampa Bay Rays did. They didn't allow their guys to go long. I mean, you saw what happened in the playoffs with Kevin Cash. Took the guy out in the fifth inning he was dealing, or whatever hell it was, and he still regrets it, I'm sure.
Oh, yeah.
Well, he's allowing to pitch. They're allowing him to pitch now, and they're letting him go because he's able to do it physically. Yeah. And now he's throwing 7 and 8 innings.
And he's keeping his pitch counts more in check.
He's getting better.
Yeah.
He's improved. So
and Rangers just hasn't been healthy for a full season. I know there's other pitchers that are getting paid a lot of money who haven't been healthy for full seasons, like Glasnow and others. Right. But those are risks that the Phillies can't afford to take because they can't buy over them like the Los Angeles Dodgers can, or maybe the New York Yankees of the past.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
We are off and running, and that was First Pitch, presented exclusively by our partners at Parx Casino, Pennsylvania's #1 casino. ParxCasino.com is the website. You must be 21 to participate, and if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Let's take you through the Arena Club Slab Pack experience. This is part 2 because Todd Father last week pulled a card that he didn't love, yet he sold it back for actually more than what the slab pack cost. This time, pulls a card that he likes.
Yeah, and this is the best part of it. Ronnie Mauricio, the Mets standout, rookie sensation. He's been absolutely phenomenal. I like the itch of seeing what you're going to get. I like prospects. I don't love them, but seeing this kind of card is actually absolutely beautiful thing. I know a couple people around town that would absolutely love that card. So there's going to be a lot of conversations going on here for Arena Club.
And what you do is you have it in your digital showroom. If you want to hand it out locally, then cool. You ask Arena Club to send it to you, and they do. Or you can sell it back like you see there. Instant offer for $193, but he's keeping it. And you can do what Todd Father does by going to arenaclub.com/Val and getting 20% off your first card purchase or your first slab pack purchase.
Hey, we are back. The Philly Show is brought to you by Fox One. Want to mention real quick, the Philly Show, if you're watching us on YouTube, we're at over 8,000 subscribers. We'd really appreciate your support. Get us up to 5 figures, baby. 10,000 subscriptions on YouTube. So click the subscribe button if you can. Your support would be greatly appreciated, of course. And want to mention this, the guys, we are going to have another Shibe Sports giveaway. Let's start with this. Let's start with the Shibe Sports giveaway. We give away something every week from our friends at Shibe Sports. This week, as part of our This Week in Philly Baseball History segment, a 1980 World Series t-shirt. And that's got a cool 80s vibe to it. I love that shirt. That reminds me of like watching ball games back in the early 80s, right? Like the graphics.
Yeah.
So go to shibesports.com/TPS, enter for a chance to win this t-shirt. Scan the QR codes on your screen if you're watching us on YouTube. And remember, if you enter for the end of the year giveaway, a year's supply of t-shirts from Shy Vintage Sports. And of course, this week in Philly baseball history, October 21st, 1980, the Phillies won their first World Series title. Ruben, what was your night like that night? You were the bat boy on that squad. You know, we had Dusty Wathan on a few weeks ago. He talked about, you know, how he was going to have the big steak and lobster dinner, but they didn't have it because he was on the losing end. Do you remember eating anything fun as a kid back then, or what was that night like for you?
I just remember it being sort of a wild night. A lot of people in the clubhouse there at Veterans Stadium, a lot of, bodies everywhere. I remember being a bat boy and like having to clean up and do that kind of stuff. I was kind of doing a lot of shit work afterwards. But it was unbelievable because my brother was there on the field in uniform. I was there in uniform. My dad, obviously, the first base coach. We were out in the middle of the scrum, you know, the whole 9 yards. And I also remember, I don't know if it was like the next day or a couple days later. We had not slept at all because there was nothing but block parties all over the Northeast. And I remember just, you know, partying and partying and partying and partying some more until it was time for us to go on the floats. And then, I don't remember sleeping for like 4 or 5 days. It was crazy. I don't even remember what I was doing about school at that time. Listen, Penn Charter, I think I was a sophomore that year. But it was just a crazy, awesome time. And then the fact that I got to be on that float with my family and cruising down Broad Street and into JFK. Was it JFK?
Yeah.
JFK Stadium, yeah.
JFK Stadium and turning the corner and having like 100,000 people like going crazy. All I can tell you was it was a whirlwind, but it was unfreaking believable.
Now today you'd have like your iPhone, so you'd have like a million photos and a million videos, and you could just look back. Do you have like maybe one good photo of you guys on the float? Do you have like one hanging in your office or something like that, or no?
I think my brother might have some stuff. He's the memorabilia keeper. Taco is the guy that keeps all the stuff. But there were these plaques that were made. There were 2 plaques that were made about the World Series of Phillies. And it was sort of like in a newspaper form, like a headline form. And they had a picture of the scrum. And in the scrum, all 3 of us were in both pictures. But all 3 just jumping in the pile. My brother David, myself, and my dad. And my brother still has those in his house. Pretty amazing.
Ruben, as a bat boy, did you get a ring?
Did not get a ring because I was not an official bat boy. I was like the backup bat boy. And I was like the ball boy. Mark Anderson, who ended up becoming our assistant trainer, along with our good friend Jeff Cooper, pound for pound, the meanest man on the planet.
Oh, yeah.
And most knowledgeable. They worked together, but Mark Anderson was sort of taught me the ropes because the next year I took over as the full-time bat boy in 81. But I was just more than anything else. I think I did 1 inning. He allowed me to do 1 inning, but I ran out some of the balls. I did the balls to help him. As a bat boy, he did the balls and the bats.
Right.
And so you had a pretty big responsibility, dealing with all that stuff. So, but I was sort of the backup at the time.
That's awesome. That's a cool, man. That's great that you had that photo of all 3 of you guys.
It's amazing.
In there.
It's amazing.
That's pretty sick. I love that. So that's great. That's cool. So yeah. So remember, go to
Todd. October 21. Also, 1975. Carlton Fisk off the foul pole.
Oh, really? When he was waving it?
Yeah.
Waving it fair?
Man.
Long drive stays fair. Home run.
Where were you, Jim? You were at home.
I was sitting Indian style in front of our one TV in our house in Greenville.
Black and white?
No, I think it was color by then. But I was sitting Indian style with my dad in front of the TV. It was 12:34, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning when Fisk hit that home run. And it was unbelievable.
That's cool. You got to stay up and watch that, man. That's amazing. That's great.
Big date.
I was not going to sleep that night.
Let's go to shibesports.com/TPS for a chance to win this t-shirt again, or scan the QR code on your screen. Last I forgot to mention the winners last couple weeks. Philip Martin from Pasadena, Texas, won a couple weeks ago. I've never been to Pasadena, Texas, been to Pasadena, California. And last week's winner was Bob Copshow from Levittown. So congratulations to both of you guys. Thanks for supporting the show, watching the show, and entering to win some sweet Shibes. I got a little Shibe t-shirt on.
Yeah, you do. Good one.
Great stuff. All right, so let's get back to some of these questions. This is a long one. This is from Paul Rudman on Facebook. He said, who are the Phillies best Phillies trade chips this offseason? They seem to be unwilling to move the highly regarded prospects like Miller, Painter, Crawford. They have contracts and no trade clauses that seem to prohibit any trade involving Turner, Harper, Nola. Guys like Castellanos and Taijuan Walker won't bring you much of anything in significance back. He said, Bohm was shopped unsuccessfully last offseason, and he's a free agent after 2026. Paul says, Bryson Stott, he's got 2 more years of team control. You guys have any thoughts? Dabrowski says he sees Stotts as an everyday second baseman, but with Sosa, Kemp, and possibly Miller all on the roster at some point in 2026, does Mr. AOK become dispensable?
Oh, I think they would listen on Stott big time. I don't know if they have a great trade chip because they're going to be protective of Miller and Crawford and Painter. So those are your best ones. And I think they need to get younger. They'll be protective of those guys. On the big league roster, you're not going to trade Sanchez, young, talented, good, not too expensive. So he's not a trade. Probably Bowman Stott. And I don't know that they're great trade chips. And maybe Stott because, he came along a little bit in the second half, plays an excellent defense, 2 years of control left. I guess maybe Stott, Ruben?
Yeah, I mean, Bohm, Stott, and Marsh are 3 guys that you would consider. I don't know if they're their best trade chips. That's why I'm so fascinated by this offseason. They put themselves in a position with, the long-term contracts and the no trades that it ties some things up a little bit without question. And maybe you want to be tied up to these guys because they're still pretty damn good players. I think the reality of it is that they're going to try to be as open-minded as possible. I think you have to listen on everything. And, they want to get a little bit younger, I'm sure. They want to get a little bit better, I'm sure. But it's not going to be cheap. And so, there's not a ton of guys out there on the free agent market that really float your boat. There's some people that will certainly help your team. And there's some impact players, but, the dollars associated with bringing some of those impact players are going to be prohibitive. A lot of it's going to start with Schwarber, as we talked about Schwarber and JT, and see where their payroll is after that, and kind of go from there and see how they can move the pieces around. It's like having a piece of pie. You got to have a full pie at the end of the day, and you got to figure out, what pieces of that pie are you going to get back, and which ones are you going to discard? And it's not going to be an easy task for them. I
need to come out of this winter with a right-handed bat in the middle. Sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know how they're going to do it.
You'd love to have a guy like Bregman, but do you have to trade? Do you have to start going through the path of like moving a big contract like Harper's or Turner's to do that? Is that robbing Peter to pay Paul? I just don't know if they have the I just don't think they have the payroll flexibility to be able to bring on a guy like that or a big right-handed bat, but there might be one out there. Tampa Bay might have a right-handed bat that they feel is, in arbitration is going to be too heavy for them, and they can make a trade with them. There's some bats out there. I just don't know all of them. But it's going to be fascinating to see if how they go about their business as far as moving some of the pieces around so that they're not coming back with basically the same team.
Right. Well, this is Steve G 412 on X. They lose Schwarber. We talked about this earlier, and this was a fun little episode, but I'm going to ask you guys again. Do they go for Alonso, or do they trade Bone to sign Bichette or Alex Bregman? I mean, Pete Alonso in this lineup hitting behind Bryce would be just a lot of fun. A lot of fun. But
if I lose Schwarber, don't retain Schwarber, you need a DH. I think Pete Alonso's turnkey there, and play a little first base now and then when you want to rest Bryce.
I agree with that. I also think that the fact that I think that they're going to leave Bryce at first base, that ties him up a little bit. It sounds like after hearing Dombrowski speak that they want to keep him at first base. Yeah. And, a lot of it will depend on how these guys come back and play. I mean, Dombrowski talked about it. I think Bryce will have a better year this year coming up. He had a good year, didn't have a great year. And they're hopeful that he bounces back and becomes a guy who, becomes great again.
Correction. Rob said that Bryce will have the best season of his career. Dave wondered aloud if he was good or elite.
Right. Yeah, correct.
It was the challenge heard round the world.
That's the challenge. Gene Morris on Facebook. Who's the starting center fielder on opening day? Bader, Crawford, Marsh, someone else?
That's a great question.
I think it's going to be somebody. I think it's going to be somebody else. I don't think it's going to be Bader, and it's not going to be Marsh. And I think Crawford is ticketed to play left field. I think that I think that's my gut feeling, and it might be somebody completely different. It could be your boy Laureano or someone like that, Jim. I just have a feeling that it might be a different center fielder, and I like for them to maybe mix it up a little bit. Put Marsh in right, Crawford in left, another guy in center, whoever that is. Go from there.
I agree. I mean, there's a multitude of candidates. I wouldn't rule out something happening with Bader and them figuring out a way to retain him.
Possible.
Just because it's nice to have somebody who can really go get it and has an idea at the plate. Rojas can go get it. He didn't really have an idea at the plate.
Yeah, we didn't even talk about Rojas.
So I kind of wonder if they might figure out a way to retain Bader. Maybe just sweeten up that 1-year deal and move the option back a year.
It's a possibility.
I don't know if a guy in his 30s would do that, if that makes good business sense. But
I like the outfield of Bader in center, Crawford in left, and Marsh in right. I like that. I like that option.
You'd be great defensively. You know that.
Yeah.
Got some speed out there. I don't know how much offense you're going to get out of Crawford in his rookie year, but you're going to get some speed and you're going to get some athleticism out there in the outfield. It'll be a very good defensive outfield.
Yeah.
I mean, Bader's bounced around so much. I wonder what his market will look like, how much demand there would be for him.
Don't know.
And if this might be the best place for him.
It's a great point.
Age 31 season, by far offensively the best year he's had in a long time. So, yeah, I think, if I was a GM, I would be asking all of my people, do we believe this? Do we believe that this is who he is? Before we offer him 3 years, 45, and he goes back to hitting 230 with a 88 OP. You know what I'm saying, or whatever that number, 3 years, 30, even. Whatever it is.
But the point that you make is a good one because the agent's going to be saying this is going to be the last time I'm going to be able to cash in on Harrison Bader. Mm-hmm. Because I don't see him signing like a 2-year deal and then having better numbers than he put together this year offensively. I mean, it could happen, but this is his best offensive year, and he's going to want to try to cash in on that on a multi-year deal. Who knows what the marketplace is going to be out there for him? We just have to wait and see.
Yeah. This one's out there, but I just wanted to mention this is Rob Jones on Facebook. Would you trade Nolan Arenado for Nick Castellanos? Kind of a sunk cost versus sunk cost. I mean, they're going to do something with Nick Castellanos. I don't see why the Cardinals would want to do that, other than they would get rid of 2 years of Nolan Arenado. But
it depends what happens with Bohm.
Yeah.
I know Arenado is going the other way, but I wonder what a fresh start and a contender would do for him. But what is the money? I'd have to look up the two monies.
Well, Nick's owed 1 year, obviously $20 million. He's got $20 million left on his deal.
Okay.
And Arenado's got
like 30 something, isn't it?
Yeah, he's 34 and he's got 2 years left on his deal.
It's just almost 70 million, I think.
I'm not, and I'm not sure that Philadelphia's own Chaim Bloom would want to have Nick Castellanos.
That's right.
Ruben
might want him if he can move him, but I don't think that's the type of move that he wants to make.
Doesn't seem like his type of player.
Yeah. I just wanted to mention because that's a name that will get mentioned, especially if the Bohm trade talks. Who's going to play third base? But might be
it could be Edmundo Sosa playing.
Edmundo Sosa to start the season. It could be Aiden Miller by June 1st. So you don't really need to go out.
Yes, sir.
Weirdly, somebody might get a productive player in Nick Castellanos for about $5 million. He'll have his change of scenery, be in a better frame of mind, be happier, be playing for a contract because he'll be a free agent the following year, rejuvenated, whatever you want to call it.
I might take a chance on him as a DH and
for $5 million,
$7 million.
If the Phillies are going to eat that much, if he's good, you got a great bargain. If he's not good, you let him go at the All-Star break.
Yeah, it only costs you $5 million. It's not a bad roll.
There's enough teams out there that can swallow that.
Yeah, I agree. I like that. Okay, a few more questions, but first we got to talk about what's happening at Parks Casino.
Yeah, Parks Casino. It's the #1 casino in Pennsylvania, and it's my casino of choice. They've got it all: action, headline, entertainment at the Excite Center, sing-along brunches, Latin dance nights, country line dancing, comedy night, happy hour in the Liberty Bell Beer Garden, 76ers watch parties, the Bamboo Noodle House, the Parks Grill, the best cover bands, hot slots, the Bet Park Sportsbook, a beautiful poker room. They've got it all. Plus, Parks Casino is a go-to for the upcoming World Series, my brethren. Toronto versus LA and the Philadelphia football team all season long. Check it out. Every Sunday at 12 noon and every Monday at 6 p.m., the Bet Park Sportsbook serves up the ultimate Philly fan experience. $1 dogs, $3 Miller Lights, $5 Peronis, plus wall-to-wall action on a 150-foot giant sportsbook screen. There's so much action, so many things you can wager on. You can eat and drink like a real Philly sports fan, and the tickets are on sale for like a bunch of headliners at the Excite Center. Straight No Chaser on December 5th. You got the comedian Ken Young. December 6th, you got Get the Let Out, Led Zeppelin tribute on the 12th. So many things to do. ParksCasino.com to buy those tickets for those shows. Parks Casino, this is how you win. You got to be 21. If you got a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, here's a question from Brian on Doc Hammy on X on free agent talks, and this is kind of interesting. Okay, this is for Ruben. As a GM, do you prefer to get your offer in first with players you want to retain, or do you like to let the market play itself out so you aren't negotiating against yourself? Does it depend on the situation? So, in other words, you're in the GM seat right now. I assume you're already talking with Kyle Schwarber and JT. How does that work? What's the play there?
I think the play is you give them sort of parameters as to where you think you might go. You express your complete interest in bringing them back. We want to bring you back. And I think that they made that very plain and very clear, publicly and privately, I'm sure. That's number one. And I think that depending on the relationship of the agent that you have and what you've built over the years with that particular agent, that'll depend the way you proceed then will depend on where and how you feel this agent's going to attack this whole thing. The agent may say to him, hey, man, I'm going to get my best offers at some point, on December 15th, I want the best offers and let's just get it going. Let's make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of it will depend on Kyle Schwarber, whether he wants to really direct this. Where does he want to go play? Does he want to go for the last dollar, or does he want to go to a place, be very comfortable with his payday and play in a place where he wants to play? And so if I was not, in other words, if I was a team like Cincinnati and the GM for that team, my very first phone call, if I wanted the guy, would be on from the last pitch of the World Series on. I'd be making phone calls to that dude immediately. A lot of it depends on the player that you're trying to target. As far as a guy like Raul Ibanez, when we signed him, I mean, he knew almost immediately. Wanted to take him to dinner, wanted to get to know him, told him that we were interested. I mean, a lot of those calls come almost immediately if you have real great interest, because I think that makes, just like anything else, demonstrated interest. It brings that player or that person, they perk up like, hey, man, these guys really want me.
With Tommy, you guys faxed him an offer at 12:01 when the market opened, 12:01 a.m.
We didn't screw around.
Yeah.
We didn't screw around because we knew what kind of impact he could make.
Yeah.
A lot of it, depends. I mean, if I'm Dave Dombrowski and I have some level of interest in Bregman, for instance, or Tucker, I put a phone call into that guy on the very first day or the very first minute I'm eligible. Hey, I'm not sure how this is all going to work out, but we have great interest. We think you'd be a great fit.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
Right. That's
But
good.
In your mind, can they do Real Muto, Schwarber, and Bregman?
Only if they move a bigger contract or two. I don't know if that's possible.
And then, like you said earlier, then you're robbing Peter.
Yeah, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and that's a very, very difficult thing to manage. Again, their payroll is such that it's a little prohibitive.
Yeah, you have Castellanos on the hook for $20 million. You have Taijuan Walker on the hook for $18 million. It's $38 million right there. You could do a lot of fun stuff this offseason if you had extra $38 million to spend.
That's a lot of Reese's.
That's a lot of Reese's, Jimmy.
Yeah, Buttercup. Very timely with Halloween coming up.
I've been crushing these all night.
Corner.
Leave some for the kids, Jim. Leave some for the kids.
Milk Duds as well.
Oh, man.
Dan wants you to leave some for the kids.
I'll get more.
I tell my son, I say, when he goes up to the houses, I say, grab me a Reese's.
Oh, yeah.
Send him on a little mission for me. All right, let's do a couple more.
Was there anything worse when you were a kid at Halloween than getting an Almond Joy?
I love Almond Joys.
Oh, I never was an Almond Joy guy.
And I like Mounds to boot.
Yeah.
Because Almond Joys have nuts. Mounds don't.
That's right.
I know you like nuts, but
you're not a coconut guy, Jim.
Yeah, I never liked the old Mounds and
not these, but those.
Oh my goodness. All right, let's go. We digress here. A couple more here. Stakes and Ruben talked about the Cars being a good band, but a bad concert. Having said that, who is your best and worst concert? That's from Chris on X. He also goes by the nickname Red Mustang.
Oh, the Red Mustang. He must a little red Corvette. I was going to say it.
Yeah,
he was a Prince fan, but I guess not. Red Mustang. Okay.
Best and worst concert. You guys have any that come to mind?
My very first concert was Al Jarreau at the Mann Music Center.
Whoa, really? Al Jarreau.
And he could scat, man. He was really good.
Yeah,
I remember my first concert. My first concert was Kiss.
Oh yeah,
and it was one of the best ones I ever seen. My parents would not let me go. Ooh. And then my sister won the tickets on the radio, and they had no choice.
No way.
Yeah. So,
Awesome.
and it was a great show, Kiss. I'm trying to think. I saw some Springsteen shows that were great.
Springsteen was outstanding.
Yeah, I saw the Born to Run.
I'm looking forward to seeing that movie.
Not Born to Run, Born in the USA.
Jim, did you pay for those tickets? The Bruce Springsteen tickets?
Oh, you've heard this story.
U2 is a good one for me.
I saw U2 at
And
the
Andrea Bocelli.
U2. I saw U2 at the where the Patriots, the former Patriots Stadium, the first one in Foxborough, outdoors. U2 was good. The Zooropa.
Jim, how did you get into the Bruce Springsteen concert?
I got in. I snuck in, but I got in.
You cheated.
Yeah, it's kind of an involved story, but I knew a guy at the back door, and he was playing 2 nights. And me and my buddy show up at the back door the first night, and half hour before the show, and he's like, "It ain't gonna work." Bruce has got his own security. It's just not gonna work. Come back tomorrow night. But he says, "Come back at like 2 p.m." So we go there at 2 p.m, and he lets us in. He says, "Just hide somewhere. You got to hide till for 6 hours." So we hid in the bathroom upstairs. And, right, we're in the stall, standing on the commode, and then a half hour before the gates open, this security guy comes in and goes, "Hey, you guys got tickets in there?" And I'm like, actually, the guy goes, "Hey, what are you guys doing in there?" And my buddy goes, "Taking a powder." And he goes, "Get out here. You guys got tickets?" And we've been waiting 6 hours, and now we're busted. And the guy was really cool. He goes, "Get back in there. I'll tell you when the gates open in about 20 minutes. And he comes back in 20 minutes. He goes, "That was the longest powder you guys ever took. Get lost." And we found our way into the building and watched the show.
That is fantastic.
Good one. It's a good
That
one.
was a great time, man. Southside Johnny. I saw Southside Johnny at Brown University in the 80s. He was great.
That's nice.
What about you,
What about
Todd? What do you got?
My first concert ever was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Actually,
Oh,
that was a
great.
great concert. Yeah, I loved Tom Petty growing up, and that was the first concert I ever went to at the Marcus Amphitheater on Lake Michigan, the Summerfest grounds. So, and then worst concert, I don't know. I guess for you guys it would be the Cars, right? Anybody ever just stink it up?
Really bad concert.
I've never really seen a really bad.
A bad concert.
I'll tell you one that was disappointing.
It wasn't disappointing. You know what's disappointing at the Citizens Bank Park? Sting.
Really?
Sting? I love Sting.
It was really disappointing. He just kind of went up there and played, and I think he's a genius. He is a genius, and I love his music, and I love everything about their music, and his music. But I couldn't believe it. He wasn't great. It wasn't great. Disappointed.
Todd, how about some of the ones we've seen over the years at ballparks after games?
Oh, yeah.
REO Speedwagon.
I got a good one. I got a good one for
REO
you.
Speedwagon, and they're like shells of themselves,
Sure.
Foreigner. But the funniest one ever was at Turner Field, day game, and Leonard Skinner was playing after the Braves Phillies game at Turner Field. What remained of Leonard Skinner? And do you remember we said to Charlie, "You're going to stick around and watch Leonard Skinner?" He goes, "Yeah, I like Leonard. He's pretty good." I'm not saying.
So I got one. When I was a bat boy, Pat Benatar played just before she blew up, and I met her. She was doing a sound check before the game, and she was doing it after the game. Did a sound check prior to the game. I was like, it was just me and her sitting in the dugout, just hanging out, talking. And I didn't know who Pat Benatar was. It was just before she blew up. I think she's from Maryland, something like that. Anyway, I'm not sure where she's from, but little thing, and with a booming voice. And I met Pat Benatar and chatted with her when I was like 15, 16 years old.
That's pretty cool.
Then she played after a Sunday day game or something like that.
Did the package show her some moves?
No, I had nothing. I had no game back then.
No rap?
No game. No Reynolds rap.
Yeah, we've seen some good post game concerts. Beach Boys, Ludacris, all sorts of great bands. Leonard Skinner, like you mentioned, REO Speedwagon. it's been a lot of fun. So there you go. There's
Foreigner one night at where the Marlins used to play. Foreigner, remember that?
Oh, there you go. Yeah. That's right. So there
It
you
was
go.
just like
So,
one guy left in the band.
so a lot of everyone. The Beach Boys. There's like one guy. What's the guy's name? Mike something from the Beach Boys. Why am I drawing a blank? The only guy that was left. Mike Love. Yeah, Mike Love was there. I think that was it. But well, that was good. So we talked concerts. We talked trades, and again, we're going to be having we're going to look at free agents, do some shows on free agents and trade
action.
all sorts of hot stove stuff as it heats up, and we will be back later this week. So talk to you guys later.
Smell you later, boys.
Later, James.
The Philly Show is brought to you by the Foul Territory Network. Subscribe to The Philly Show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.